Well, hi everyone, it's Joe for Joe for Hire. Happy second day of spring, actually, March 21st. And just trying out my new tablet here. It's pretty scary from some guy from the 70s attempting new technology, but trying to keep up with everyone and might just go over here, the light's better. Anyways, I have to give credit to Jason Creel because he he beat me to the idea of this video. I just saw this morning he posted a video on there we go, on not comparing yourself to other people or other people's businesses. It's a trap I think we can all fall in. Maybe I'll sit down here and it's be better. And with me personally, I follow YouTube a lot, so you try to look for YouTube for inspiration, motivation, seeing what other guys are doing, what type of equipment they use, just to get ideas, to get your thought process going, and to see if there's always a better way, and maybe sometimes someone else has thought of an easier way to do something. Unfortunately, what you can run into is you start seeing how your business is at one level and someone else's business is at a higher level. A good case in point, I know there's been a few videos done about the Jonathan from the Lawn Care Millionaire. He does 9,000 lawns, has 90 crews, and I guess it'd be an easy way to fall into that trap. You can look at it one of two ways. It's like, wow, that's awesome, I want to do that. Or it's like, oh man, I'm just a solo operator. I'm nowhere near that. I don't even have 90 lawns, let alone 9,000. So I guess it's one of two ways you can look at it. It could be quite easy to fall into that trap. But then you have to take away and dissect it. And he even admits in his video, he already had another business. And he says he kind of got into the lawn care business by accident, he claims. And he didn't fully admit that he had a successful second business already, and he could afford to venture in and not really experiment, but he could maybe gamble a little bit more often and tweak things easier. I have an assistant today. Say hi, Norm. Norm is our new mascot for Joe for Hire. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Anyways, yes, so with Jonathan and Lawn Care Millionaire, he already had an established business. He already had established income coming in, and so he could venture out and maybe not really experiment, but just try and tweak things to make it run the way he wanted to. And then, close to home here, I started my business in 2012. Just started with a snow shovel that I bought at Home Hardware. I didn't even have a truck. I had my two-door Grand Prix. So I throw the snow shovel in the trunk and I go and shovel a few places for people, driveways. And then I got a few lawns out of it, and they kind of grew from there. So in one way, the business grew a lot last year. Last year was the busiest I've ever had. And so in one way, yeah, you can say I have a truck now. I have a trailer. I have 2 zero-turn lawnmowers. I have 3 push mowers. One's kind of like a parts lawnmower or a backup to my backup. I have a gas back blower, 2 handheld blowers, trimmers. So still a solo guy, but yeah, things are looking up. So I guess in one way, it's me kind of be foolish to try and say, well, I didn't. You really can't compare yourself to a huge company that has like 9,000 clients. So, and I'm not really sure I want 9,000 clients. I'm more local, personable. I find people really like to know the person who's answered the phone is going to be the same person to show up to cut the lawn. And it's a small town. It seems to be working fine for me. And but there's always the next level. Like how do I expand more, or how do I tweak the business so it runs better and be more organized and still have more of a balance between work and family life, which really suffered last year. We tried our best. We went on 2 trips in early spring and late fall. Both times we came home to crappy weather. But that's just the way it goes. But for me personally, like I said, I started the business in 2012. And then I found out another gentleman started his business in 2012. We're in the same area, but not in the same town. He's only maybe 20 minutes away, which is likely a good thing for me. And of course, we started the business pretty much the same way. He just started with a snow shovel, and then only he's now ventured out bigger. He does all residential, has a fleet of mid-compact tractors with blowers on them, does all the residential blowing in his neck of the woods. He's expanded. He has employees. Everyone raves about him. And I think to myself, I started in 2012 too, and I don't have a fleet of tractors. But then that's the trap where you can fall into comparing yourself, because I think to myself, I only wanted this to be me. I didn't want a whole whack of employees. I've never been a manager. I always wanted to keep the business small enough to I could maintain it. And I found out last year it's more about just we're running a lawnmower. You got to do the business end and keep up with accounts. And I've tried to organize that better this year by signing up with a software company so I can track things. I can send invoices off, professional looking invoices, not handwritten stuff. So, and that way I have been making improvements for sure. And but the big thing why I can't compare myself to this other gentleman is that when I started back in 2012, I might have been like, maybe 35, 36. I was out on my own, working 3 or 4 part-time jobs. When he started his business in 2012, he's 11. Still lived at home. And I mentioned this to Jason Creo, and he goes, hey, I'm all for young kids doing well. And I said, well, I am too. It's just, do I fall into the trap of comparing myself to his business? Because, yes, we do a lot of similar stuff. We both try to target residential accounts. But with the beauty was the lawn care, you can make it as big or small as you want it. And from what I've seen, some larger YouTubers I follow have scaled back their business because it's gotten too big for them, and they've had a lot of problems with employees. And it's all on the sole operator, the boss man, I guess you want to say, or boss person, and just trying to see, what do I want? So I know this gentleman, very in business, very business-like minded person. He's excelled at things, so you gotta give him credit for that. People, especially like my grandfather's generation, always kind of ran us down, saying, "You guys just, go on your tablets and your phones, and you guys don't know how to work hard." I learned from my dad and my grandfather. They obviously worked harder than me. I try to do things different and use the best what I have. I may not have the latest and greatest stuff, but I try to tweak my business so it runs to what my ideal customer is. And following people like Brian Shane and Lawn Care Millionaire and Stanley the Dirt Monkey, they all hit the same issues we're having. As I tend to gear my channel towards everyone in the lawn care, where it's you run 2 or 3 crews or a huge business or you're just a solo operator. But I'll admit sometimes I have to gear stuff towards what I know. I try not to fake it till I own it, because I just, this is it. When I go to the GIE and people say, how many crews do you run? I said, you're looking at it. So I have, sometimes Allison or her son will help me part-time once in a while if we have to get going somewhere. So she's been good at that. But for the most part, it's me. And that's kind of the way I wanted it. Obviously, this other gentleman in the next town over for me, he wanted something more, which is fine. That's great. I never want to see anyone fail in this business, because I know how hard it is to get in. But there's always that human element that you're always in the back of your head saying, how did he get all this equipment so fast? And it's not cheap equipment by any means. The equipment I have is not cheap. Some of it's been given to me, some of it's I bought. The older stuff always been given to me, like my uncle's roller tiller. You guys that follow my channel know I started out with my grandfather's 30-year-old lawn boy push mower. It still runs. I still have it. I still, sometimes I will use it as a backup. And with the Cub Cadet all-wheel drive one, I'm not using it as much as I did before, which is fine, because I think at 30 years old, that thing it still runs strong, but it's getting tired, and there's just a lot more safety features on the Cub Cadet push mower like the mulch plug and the bagging system and the handbrake. And I rather would train someone. If I ever get an employee, I would train him on the Cub Cadet. The Lawn Boy would be reserved for me because I grew up with it. I know it. I know there's not a lot of safety features other than the on-off switch, so that's fine. So, but yeah, sometimes I think maybe there's other people out there that fall into the same trap. Maybe it's only human. We can't help but compare ourselves to other people, but you just gotta take away from it what you want. Maybe you just use it as an example, and then obviously, with two people, we're not going to run the same business the way. He's targeting a lot of residential people in a short period of time, where I'm not. I have a walk-behind 30-inch heavy-duty Cub Cadet 3-stage. It's done a great job. I get people that don't want a plow truck in their driveway, or I get people that have a hill, like we're in St. Mary's, so there's hills pretty much everywhere. And so it's pretty... Some people, if you hit their lawn, they're not happy. Even though lawn grows back, what damage the plows do, it can be fixed. But I have gotten at least 3 or 4 clients because they're adamant they do not want to plow in their driveway. Sometimes I wish I had a plow because it would be a lot faster for me. But then I have to decide, and I'm going to be reviewing how I do my snow removal business this coming year. To see if I'm going to continue with it, because I think there's only so much I can do with a walk behind. It does a great job, but as they all say, time is money, and obviously it takes me longer to clean out driveways than I would if I had like something like a plow truck. I kind of would stay away from plow trucks because I heard it does a lot of damage to them plowing all the time. And being a low key operation, I want to keep my costs down. And since I only have one truck that I use for business and pleasure, I kind of need to look after it, and putting a plow on it would just destroy it. And I've thought about some other options too, so I'm going to weigh the pros and cons. And where my business is going, I would like to, I am going to focus more on the lawn care end of it. Lawn maintenance, trimming hedges, fall and spring cleanups, rowing, aerating lawns, and stuff like that, mulching. And I know a lot of my loyal customers have been very good with me with the snow removal. Sometimes a lot of times the old rule was if you do their snow, you'll get their grass. I have some customers that just have me for snow. They have someone else to do their lawns, and that's fine. But I'm just going to review everything this year. And I really want to buckle down and be more organized. That's my key. And I'm doing this to be accountable to you guys too. I always say, part of the solution was me going to a software-based program to help track my expenses, get my invoicing done quicker, more efficient, and it looks better. It does look better. Even Allison says, Joe, your handwriting invoices, that doesn't look very professional. For some of the accounts, it was fine, but the response I've gotten from the now soft-based invoicing has gone over very positive. People are very impressed, and so that's a good thing. So my advice to people, and I'm going to gear this to people that are just starting into the lawn care business or have been in it for 1 or 2 years, or like a solo operator like me, is YouTube's great for gaining information, for seeing how other people run their business. And that's fine. Just don't fall into the trap. It's like, well, they have a brand new trailer and I don't. And just make the best of what you have. That's what we grew up with on the farm. We didn't have all these fancy brand new tractors. I think the newest tractor we had was, I can't remember what was newer, the Ford 5000 or the John Deere 4020. But the John Deere 4020 had the heated cab, so that my dad liked that. All the other tractors, none of them had cabs. We had everything from an International Farmall M right up to a Ford 5000 and the John Deere. But for a 100-acre farm, it did the job. And I know the technology's changed quite a bit. But yeah, just if you're starting out or if you got a small budget, try not to go into debt. Try to prevent keeping up with the Joneses. Know your ideal customer, and then base your equipment off of that. Like for me, I have two 48 zero turns. They're great for residential. They can get into some really tight corners. and they got bagging systems on them, and they were great. And yeah, it'd be nice to have like a 72-inch right stander. But right now, my client base, it'd be too big for a lot of stuff I do. And I know with the Cub Cadet Z-Force, it handles the hills great. It's not as fast as the X-Mark, but it can handle hills where I'd be scared to take the X-Mark on, because we all know with the lap bars, they will slide. And the worst feeling in the world is to be an operator on a piece of equipment and have no control over it when it slides down the hill. And that's not fun. I haven't had a big slide, but it slid enough for me to realize, no, I don't want to be on this. And if I get something really steep, I just go revert back to the 21-inch Pushmore. It's always done well. So safety, budget-wise, I know sometimes it's hard to get to the next level, because, you know, if I wanted to go to a 60-inch deck more, that's fine, but then it won't fit on my 5x10 trailer. So then you got to buy a new trailer, and then, you know, the costs keep going up. And sometimes it's a little frustrating watching stuff on YouTube saying, you know, well, your company has to be running the $1 million range, and you have to have all these, you know, you got to have someone looking after your bills, you got to have someone answering the phones, and you have someone doing this. And it's like, for me personally, it's kind of gone away from what I want to do, how I want to run a business. And I know for my business, it's got to run more efficient. There's a few things I have to tweak to be better on it, to be more profitable. I got a great bunch of customers. I've been very thankful for that. So that's a huge plus. You know, some of them have given me more second chances that I likely should deserve. But I'm always accountable. I find the key to everything with customer service is communication. As long as you're contacting your customers and saying, hey, you know, I can't make it today, or it's rain and I've fallen behind, 9 times out of 10, they'll cut you some slack. It's like, you know what, it's okay, you can leave it to Monday. There's an odd time they say, you know, we got company coming over, we really need it done, and then you try your best to look after them. And but it's better than not communicating with people. And I learned this the hard way last year with the snow removal. I got run behind, and there was a few people I didn't contact right away that I should have, and as a result, they're not with me now. And this year, I ran into a similar issue. It went from that wet snow to rain, and for the first time in 5 years, my blower could not handle that snow at all. It was just too wet for the blower, too wet for the 3-stage. It exceeded the operation of what the machine was designed for. And I had a lot of double wide driveways. I couldn't shovel with my hand. So there was 5 of them I had to contract out to another contractor. They were great to do it for me. I did a video on this earlier. So, you know, but the main thing was, and the best advice I was given was like, you're in the service industry, call your customers and let them know, hey, I haven't forgot about you and I'm not going to let you down. So hopefully you guys have found this interesting. Sorry if sometimes I get distracted and I jump from topic to topic. It's just the way this thing runs. Obviously, you know, it's not scripted. I do have an idea what I'm going to talk about when I get online. Sometimes it just doesn't come across the right way. But yeah, definitely the key. Don't fall into the trap of comparing yourself to other businesses. I know I'm guilty of it as anyone else. It's easy to do. The main thing was, you know, using the online sources, just pay attention to what people are doing. And then know in advance what your ideal customer is and where you want to go in like 5 years or 10 years. You know, if you want to run 2 or 3 crews or be as big as you want, then go for it. It's just the pitfalls of, you know, finding good employees and paying WSIB, and, you know, as you grow, more money comes in, but so does your expenses. And as long as you have a good business plan, and I have to give this other guy credit in this other town. You know, I have to give him full credit. He had a very good mindset at age 11, and he was able to grow the business to where he wanted it to go. So, like, you know, I'm not trying to say, well, he's lucky or his parents helped him, because from what I've been told, his parents financially did not help him. I still find that hard to believe, but obviously, if you're doing a lot of snow shoveling before you go to school and you're not out partying, I'm sure he was able to sock away quite a bit of the money and save up to buy bigger equipment. So kudos for him. You know, it's always positive to see that. Sometimes, as for me, it's frustrating to see, like, when other people are featured on, like, some of the bigger YouTubers channels like, oh, he's only 16 years old and he's bringing in $1 million, or he's only 21 years old and he's bringing in 400,000 a year. And it's like, well, sometimes you don't know the whole story behind that, but then you just have to step back from it and say, well, good for them, and just continue on. There's nothing wrong with tweaking your business or changing things to make it run more smoother, and maybe picking up a small piece of equipment that make things go quicker for you. For me, I'm looking into maybe one of those trimmer racks or mounts to mount onto your zero turn mower. I think they're great. It'll be a lot easier than walking back to the truck, and it'll save time. And we all know time's money. And so if you're small like me, this keep your idea customer in mind. Know what you want. Maybe have a 5-year or 10-year plan, and just build the business the way you want it. Don't let other people try to influence you how they think your business should run. Obviously, if you have no customers and people are giving you advice, well then yes, pay attention to them. But the key is know what you want, follow your passion, keep within a budget. I know it's really tempting to go over in debt to get the latest and greatest product, whatever it is, like from shoes to lawnmowers or the fancy dump trailers. There's always the next level to scale. But everything I hear from people is like, it's difficult in this business, but there's always solutions. Sometimes the solutions aren't as easy as what you would want them to be, but they are out there. And I know for me, there was a few hurdles I faced last year, and the one solution was upgrading to the software so I can invoice and track appointments. And so I'm still learning that. There is a learning curve. I'm sure some people would have grasped it faster than me. I think I've done okay. Like I said, my business is growing. It's still, we're in between seasons right now, but when it does warm up, I think it will go quite quick. I've already had a few calls. I've done some quotes, so that's a positive thing. And I think the big thing is, if you find yourself you're comparing yourself to other businesses, in one way that's not a bad thing, but just look at the positive. Just look where you started from and where you're going and where you are at that time. As long as you have customers, as long as you have people calling you, maybe you only get 1 or 2 new customers a year. As long as you do the best you can do and you look after your customers, they'll look after you. You look after a customer, they'll refer you to someone else, or maybe the neighbor will pick you up. And just keep, like what I'm doing now, I am starting to advertise on Facebook, and that has gotten me a few calls, so that's great. And sorry if I rattle along too long. It's the side effect for being raised on the farm. We're all talkers in my family. But I'm going to end this now. So, like I say, kudos for Jason Creel for beating me to the punch. I'm okay with that. I'm sure his comparing video is a lot better than mine. You're more than welcome to check out Jason Creel's YouTube channel, and also Jonathan from the Lawn Care Millionaire. I'd be lying to say if I'm not envious of sometimes when people have nicer stuff than me, but that's only human. I'm just thankful for the stuff I do have. I've come a long way from the push mower out of the trunk of my Grand Prix. The truck's a lot easier, the bag leaves for sure. And I'm passionate about this business. I'm enjoying it. Some days it's hard, I won't lie, but overall, you just have to evolve and change and roll with the punches. So anyways, be glad to hear any comments, good or bad, as long as they're constructive criticism. And I got big shoulders. I used to work with mechanics all the time. So and shout out to my Leaf fans. They won last night. It was a close game, but they won. And so yeah. Anyways, this is Joe for Joe for Hire, signing off.